I'm sort of curious to see
it
what
disappear.
changes are actually going to be made to this remake, though. Whether it's going to be like, hey, we just released an HD version, or if it's going to be they actually did any work.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they would like to see like models redone and stuff, and maybe some like jankiness cleaned up.
Mm.
That would be the extent of it. No storyline rewriting. I know in some cases, some of these companies, when they do a remake, they like to add in like new content, new content, new content.
Right, but I feel like they're gonna. The problem with new content costs money, and if we can
Hmm.
make the laziest remake possible, well, hey, let's just release it with HD textures. Why not?
Well, that's the difference. Like, you can do HD textures and models, and that still takes work to do, to work on. And some people are willing to pay for that because they're getting an updated game that runs on current hardware,
Throw everything through an
and it
upscaler.
looks nice. Huh?
Just throw everything through an upscaler. Do no work.
Uh, that does work sometimes, actually, in
Yeah.
Upscaler. It works quite well with Doom.
Mm. We pixel art stuff tends to be fairly like the problem with older pixel art stuff is it doesn't look good on modern screens because the resolution's different. Um,
Mhm.
it doesn't work as well when you start getting the higher resolution stuff though,
Yeah.
because you can't.
It kind of depends on your filtering, too.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I I don't know. I haven't played too much around with filtering when it comes to emulating stuff. I try to go with like just basically just a straight upscale. So like I'll play
mm.
I'm playing through Shin Megami Tensei 3 right now. I've upscaled that to 4K and it looks pretty good. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't it's not as clean as I would like it to be, but it certainly still looks pretty good.
Mhm. There are just some things where it's like if you can upscale it and get a clean pixel art versus the fuzzy filtering
Yeah,
that
yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot of things want to apply, it looks really, really nice.
Mm.
There are
Like
some 3D games that like have the lower resolution that I feel bad because it just looks all messy when it would probably look nicer just having like crisp pixel art for the textures instead.
I think when it's so low res, like when it's to the point of something like Final Fantasy VII, it sort of has that same the same effect when you upscale it. Like you know you're not adding extra detail to it, but you're getting those very clean models back. Like people play like you play
Mm,
Final Fantasy VII expecting it to look like a very early PS1 game.
yeah. And if you're playing it on a small screen, it doesn't really quite matter.
Mm-mm. But like this is why like if you go and upscale like anything on like the Game Boy or GBA, like they'll look as good as you would expect them to look. Like all you're doing is just bringing those clear lines back.
And I'm a lot of emulators have like really good filtering algorithms that
Mm.
like do the smoothing really nicely too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do tend to shy away from them for the straight pixels, and that's about it. So
Yeah,
stick that way.
I don't like to see smoothing stuff. Like I get it. I would much rather have like the way the art style was sort of intended to look.
Mhm. There's also like the CRT like filters you can apply and stuff, or
Yeah.
like the pixel TV ones as well.
Mm-mm.
So like those can look really really nice.
I haven't really played with those ones much yet. I can't really speak for how that would look.
Mhm.
I think one game that one game that doesn't upscale super well but does have a really good fan project to make it upscale well is Final Fantasy VI. So uh that game used it had really beautiful 2D backgrounds with 3D models walking in front. When you upscale it, the 3D models look absolutely perfect, but the backgrounds they don't. So there's actually a mod project that takes some like the early concept art and upscales based on that. It redraws some sections and like actually tries to make the game look really, really good.
Sounds very, very nice. I know some people don't appreciate when fans do that,
Mm.
but there are others that do. And so someone putting in that time and work to do it is just really awesome to see.
I'm happy with people doing whatever they want with a mod project, but when it's something that I'm going to run myself, I like to keep it sort of as close to the original art style as possible. I'm not the sort of person who's going to go play Skyrim and then add in Thomas the Tank Engine. But a bear playing a lute, that is a very different story.